Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. Join Dr. Pinkston today as she teaches you how an integrative approach to health, combining holistic and contemporary medical information, can lead you to the better life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston.
Good morning. Welcome in again to The Better Life TV. I'm Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. And as usual, on the third Thursday of every month, I get the honor and privilege of talking with Ray Solano, a compounding pharmacist up in Austin, Texas. And not just compounding pharmacist, but a true genius and, again, a really nice guy who I love and adore. So welcome, Ray. It's nice to see you again.
Well, thanks for having me on. This is a great pleasure to get the word out. That's what we do.
Yeah. Always. And again, we are, we've been talking, we always talk a few minutes before we kind of get started here, in between always anyway. But a couple of topics today that I think are pretty important. Everybody now is in the depths of COVID and a lot of fears and a lot of propaganda on both sides, a lot of extreme, thoughts on both sides. So as much as possible, we always want to bring a scientific element and focus on facts and things about COVID. So we're going to take a little bit of a different turn today, I think, and talk about one thing that is on all parents' mind right now as kids are getting ready to go back to school. There's a lot of kids under 12 and some over that are not vaccinated. And so parents are worried. They're asking me now all the time, what can I do besides just wearing a mask and throwing them to the wind? What can I do to protect my children? What do you have to say for everybody?
Well, I think the most important thing that we have to understand is stop panicking in fear. Tensions are extremely high right now. We have debates and arguments over whatever, you name it.
Yeah.
But understand that your body's immune system is very dependent upon your well-being, your calmness, your ability to get proper rest and proper nutrition.
Yes. And
when we're arguing and screaming about masks or vaccines, we're just doing ourselves harm, unfortunately. And the big problem is the education. Our public health education is become political. Yes. And it's just unavailable for people to find out the truth. People are pretty smart, right? Your patients are smart. Patients call us all the time, and I'm just blown away by how educated they are, because they'll go to the ends of the earth for their children's health and understand. We've been dealing with autism families and autistic children for over 15 years.
Right.
And so the struggles of that population, which is just enormous, it makes you really sober up that this is what these people have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So we always go down to what we know works, and the most important thing that we're finding is nobody knows. Nobody's training anybody what we could do to strengthen your immune system so that whether it's this virus or another virus, or whether it's a stomach bug that comes, we're going to have to be able to deal with it.
Right. So the immune
that's what
challenges.
we're going to talk about today, some common sense approaches to survival. How's that?
Absolutely. I agree. And so, again, I really, really love your point and want to hammer it home to people is that, a lot of the things that we are, learning and not even learning, but panicking about when we talk about, people who are reading and trying to learn things about what to do maybe after the fact, trying to avoid it, but after the fact, what do I do if I get it? And what people need to understand, no matter what the immune system challenges, no matter what the disease is, the COVID is not going to be the last thing we deal with. So no matter what the disease is, we have to set our base and our bodies back to a hopefully non-prescriptive form of care for ourselves that, we can, like you said, get the nutrition and sleep and control the stressors and things like that. Because when your body is healthy and happy, it is a great barrier. It's a great immune system, super kill for any virus or any immune system challenge. And so many people now are becoming autoimmune. I feel like in the next, 10 to maybe 20 years, that's too long, honestly. I feel like everybody will have some sort of autoimmunity.
That's scary.
It
and
is.
Autoimmunity, when your body starts attacking itself for an unknown reason, and usually for a better reason, because it's get misinformation. The body's not stupid,
Right.
but it somehow gets locked into healthy tissues are the enemy.
Right.
And this is where, unfortunately, when we do all types of medical interventions, whatever that is, the body, we have to acknowledge this autoimmune response has to be addressed.
Right.
And that's where when you have a healthy immune system, it doesn't go off the reservation, so to speak,
Right.
and cause a difficulty.
Right.
And Mary, if I could just, Dr. Pinkston, I just throw a little statistic I saw the other day. Did you know that 2/3 of the calories consumed of young children and teens is from processed foods?
Wow.
Okay, so what we have, if we identify processed foods as dead foods because they have very little, if any, nutrient value, they're very little enzymes, very little value for nutrition. If 2/3 of our intake of calories does not nurture our body's craving for nutrients, then that's where we have to
That's where you go wrong.
start over.
That's step
Because
one, right?
There's no way if you're starving an immune system, you're starving the body's nutrient levels, they will not be able to ward off any type of infection.
Exactly. So in looking at processed foods and defining processed foods, this guest had said if it doesn't walk or grow or swim, then it's something, he won't eat. And it's oversimplifying, I think, because we can't always, just stick with that. But it's a good point, because anything that comes in the boxed convenience, in the middle of the store is probably, and something that has more than 5 ingredients to it is probably something you should stay away from. That'll, not help you to improve your immune system attack for, or your barriers, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I like that. And, unfortunately, people say, well, I have no time. Okay. You and I both know that our ancestors did have time. We have time. You could prepare things. People go to the store and buy prepared foods, right? We could also make our own prepared foods for 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're taking the time and planning for that, that's it's not very hard to do.
It's not, and I have 1,000 ideas if anybody wants to know.
It's expensive to buy prepared foods, but just do it yourself.
Right.
So anyway, I just wanted to
kind of bring that to light.
Like you said, I can give people 15, 10-minute recipes that you can feed the whole family for a week.
Exactly.
Okay. And so that's what we try to.
And not too expensive either. So, well, if we're going to talk about kids going back to school, so kind of getting back to that with building up kids, because I know parents are very worried. I would be worried too. My kids, I did choose to vaccinate my kids, but they're 15, 17, and 20. So, it was easy at that point. There's a lot of kids going back to school. Kids are kids, they don't sit 6 feet apart. They don't wear masks. And so you got to arm your kid with a good immune system, feed them good food, and then send them out the door. So what are some things that you advise your parents to do for kids to build up their immune system?
Well, I think, again, simple things. I think every child, before they leave in the morning, should get a spray. This is it's a colostrum polypeptide. So it is a polyrich peptide derivative from colostrum. Okay, very simple. Okay, spray, tastes like milk. Give them a couple of sprays before they leave.
I want that. Right? I want that. So that's it. Colostrum.
If you have a special liposomal vitamin C complex.
Okay.
It tastes good. You can it's an orange flavor. You can put it into some water and they can have that in the morning. Okay?
Yes.
Then we can this is simple. Vitamin D drops.
Yes.
Okay? Give them a few vitamin D drops.
Yes.
Why not? And then fish oil.
Yeah.
Small little fish oil capsule
Sure.
helps the brain. DHEA, EPA stops the inflammatory cascade in the whole body.
Right.
They make them very small that children can have.
That's good too. And there's
And then a simple probiotic, okay? Because it all starts in the gut. You know that as well as anybody.
absolutely.
A simple probiotic that is live and from a good source and from our pharmacy, your facility. And those kids are great. They can survive the insults for the day with a good start. They can have a smoothie shake that's made that's a good source of proteins, and they're good.
And they are
you'd
good.
be surprised. And so you and then stay away from the sweet anything,
Yes.
because as a public education, alcohol decreases immunity. You know, in Japan, they closed the bars during COVID.
Wow.
They did. They were smart. That's the only country. This is, you know,
Brave enough
they
to do
actually
it.
limited the alcohol at the Olympics. So alcohol decreases immunity. Okay, fine. Sorry for all our owners of bars and restaurants, but you just need to know this.
Right.
And also, the other thing that really destroys our immune system that makes it awfully difficult to handle all the insults is sugar.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and the amount of calories per day that we consume children per sugar is enormous.
Yes.
So, I didn't give anybody difficult or controversial tasks.
No, not
Okay.
at all. And you
We
really
talked
did
about
well on the end of, since they're children, giving things that are liquid.
Right.
And even if it's a tablet, like, are they able to? One thing that came to my mind: a lot of kids can't swallow. So with the probiotic and the fish oil, and I've got a liquid one if parents are interested. It's kind of it tastes a lot better from Orthomolecular, which I know you're familiar with.
Yes.
But they can they open the fish oil capsule or the
Yes.
probiotic capsule and put it in a shake and
whatever they want. You
Right?
know,
Yeah.
like I said, we deal with special needs children all the time.
yeah,
And I am shocked as to what these children, so my kids won't swallow. I got 5-year-olds that swallow 16 capsules a day.
they can.
And when they feel better, when kids feel better, you'd be surprised what they'll do.
Right.
It's really the parents are the biggest problem.
Yeah, just but the kid can't do it. You know, you
kid-
can't. You
yeah.
can teach your kid.
So
to do it.
they want to feel good. Kids are motivated. So let's treat them a little bit like grown-ups a little bit. You'd be
Right.
surprised. So that's the one. And then, you know what, practice washing hands with kids. They don't wash their hands well. They don't know how to wash their hands well. They really, really don't.
Right.
So when they leave in the morning, they wash their hands, and before they come in the house, they wash their hands, and before they sit down to eat, they wash their hands.
Right.
So, okay,
And that is a habit.
it's a habit.
It's
So-
a habit. And I have a sister-in-law who we've always made fun of her forever. I mean, her kids are, 17 now, but for 17 years, we've really made fun of her because she was so strict about that. And even last night we went to dinner with them and she wasn't even there. And her 17-year-olds were like, where's the hand sanitizer? Where's the bathroom? Or they were to wash their hands. It's so ingrained in them. It's a habit. That's it.
It's a habit.
It's a habit.
And then there's another thing that nobody wants to talk about. Masks are dirty.
Yeah.
Fabric.
You
Don't-
breathe
doesn't
on it.
really-
If you
doesn't work.
cough on it, sneeze on it.
There has been a study. This is that the amount of toxic materials in those was worse than a toilet. So if you think about that, maybe
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and it's not
Okay.
nice.
So why don't you throw them away?
Right.
You in medical school, how often did you throw away your masks?
Yeah, we
during-
switched them out constantly.
How often?
Gloves and yeah.
How often?
Oh, if for masks or so? Honestly, we didn't. And it wasn't until surgeries or things like that, or walking in a room of infected patients. But we'd walk in a room with a fresh mask, and as soon as we were done, we would throw it away.
Oh, throw it away.
Yeah.
That's what. So if you're going to do this mask game, you have to throw them away every 2 to 3 hours.
Right. Right. So you have to order a lot of those suckers.
You have to order a lot of them. And then, so every time you touch them,
Mm-hmm.
you're contaminating them. So that's the foundation where we want people to talk about.
Right.
If there's a place for them, for some people that have very serious conditions,
Mm-hmm.
but to understand they should be thrown out often.
Right.
And if it's a fabric thing, then that's not purposeful anyway. So I think this is the simple things that people don't understand.
Yes.
And it changes these are the facts.
Yes.
They're dirty.
Yeah.
So, and then also one size does not fit all for therapy. Where's personalized pharmacy?
Yes.
We individualize therapies for patients.
Yes.
We a portion of the we do a lot of exhausted participate in a lot of exhausted tests,
Mm-hmm.
and mitochondria disorders is a real thing.
Yes.
There is children and adults that cannot process toxic metals, cannot process toxic pollutants. They seem to concentrate them, whatever they are. And some people have anaphylactic reactions to things that are because of this. So you have to identify the population. There are more unique instances in children and adults than there ever was before.
Exactly right.
There's autoimmune dysfunction.
Yes.
There's mitochondria dysfunctions.
Yes.
There's so many contributing factors. Some pediatric kids are taking 12 medications a day.
Isn't that something? And if we could just prevent that from the onset, that would be the most wonderful thing. And so, we are
take each case individually.
Right. So I've gotten so immersed in this, I've kind of neglected the clock here. We are going to have to take a short break. So excuse me for a moment, but we will be right back. We're going to continue. This is great.
Hi, this is Ray Solano with your Healthy Choices Minute, sponsored by Prescription Dispensing Labs. New research has concluded that implementing dietary changes could prevent gut inflammatory processes involved in some chronic diseases. Modulation of your gut microbes through diets enriched with vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and a higher intake of plant over animal foods has a potential to prevent intestinal inflammatory conditions at the core of many chronic diseases. In short, the foods we eat in our dietary patterns have a major influence on our immune system that can cause many conditions we are suffering from today. Solution: try our OptiMeal shake. Our team has developed the best tasting, healthiest shake you've ever experienced to control blood sugar and to improve your gut. Start your day today with a healthy choice. Call us today at 888-909-0110 for a free sample of the OptiMeal shake. 888-909-0110. Remember, you have a choice in healthcare.
Hi, welcome back. We've been having a great discussion this morning. I'm Dr. Pinkston, and I'm with Ray Solano from up in Cedar Park, close to Austin, for the Compounding Pharmacy, a great personalization of your medical care and building your immune system, and that's what we've been talking about. So we only have a brief period of time here, and I want Ray to touch on something I think is very important. With all the news out there, the propaganda, there's extremes on both sides. Where do you find good information to educate yourself so that you can make a decision? And so Ray is going to tell us about that. I'm excited to hear.
One of the websites that we follow, that a lot of our physicians follow, like yourself, is the Frontline Critical Care Alliance for prophylactic treatments for COVID-19. So this is a body of physicians, also that they have partnered with I'm trying to understand the school. This is the Eastern Virginia Medical School.
Okay.
They have put together different approaches to this disease because, unfortunately, not one size fits all.
No.
And this is what we're talking about, is personalized medication. So there's lots of choices. We always say you have choices in your healthcare. But check out this website. It's flccc.net. Excuse me.
No problem.
That is the website, flccc.net.
Okay.
This is the Frontline Alliance. You'll find a lot of valuable information and let you make the decision for yourself, for you and your family.
Right, absolutely. And it's great to find good scientific information. patients when they come to me and ask me questions, and I'm so honored that they trust me enough to try to guide them into good places for their education. Many times patients will say, I read or I heard. And I'm like, when
Right.
you read something, you need to be very critical of it. You need to look where it's from, who it's written by, and where it's published, and not just something anecdotal that came off of a website from somewhere, and you can't really so when something comes out of your mouth as you speak, not you but the patients, when it comes out of your mouth and you're going to say, this is what I heard, the best thing you can always do is quote a school or a where it was published, because that brings an enormous amount of value. And that's what this website can do, right? It can show us that that there's an enormous amount of information to make a decision, but it's legitimate. It comes from a good source.
Well, and also check out our website, pdlabsrx.com.
Right.
pdlabsrx.com. And, we're here to answer questions and maybe be able to, we may not have all the answers, but we can at least direct you where the best choices are. How's that?
Exactly. Perfect. So, and you guys are great because you have the metabolic code, which, people can evaluate their metabolism, with labs and fantastic science, and personalize their therapies to either treat or prevent and, build their health. But you guys also have a wealth of things, of supplements and vitamins and all the things that are needed. We talk about here, to treat all ages, children to the elderly, and things that are very scientific, very well studied, but are a lot more natural. And I hate to use just the word natural because that connotates that.
Okay.
It's just something hokey and that somebody pulled out of the sky. That's not the case at all. It's something that very well studied, has an enormous amount of information about that. And PD Labs is on my website. So if you go to drpbetterlife.com, that's where you can find all the YouTube and links for all of my shows. But I have all their information as well, where you can find Ray and PD Labs. And you guys are up in Austin and doing great up there.
Up in North Austin, Cedar Park. And you know what? I'm going to give you a teaser for next month's show.
Good.
Glycan-age.
Yes.
A new blood spot test that determines your biological age. How's that?
That is beautiful and so easy. And I know it comes from a fantastic source. It comes from Jim Laval.
So we're going to be featuring that, and we're going to have a whole show dedicated to that, because it's a game changer to determine if you're making good lifestyle changes.
Right.
Glycans.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't wait. So I'm hoping I get to kind of an early view of it and how to do it. So
I think we can help you out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Try to keep us all healthy and going so we can keep putting information out there. So give a little bit of information you already have, but one more time, tell us where we can find you.
The website is pdlabsrx.com. Our phone number is 512-219-0724, and you can give us a call and check out our website, pdlabsrx.com. A lot of free information. We do a podcast, Healthy Choices XM. We do some television pieces, and it's centered about educating people to making some good choices in healthcare.
Absolutely. I love it. So that's why I'm on board. I absolutely adore you guys and have for so many years, and have learned so much from you. I really appreciate you. And as far as finding me out there, I am out in Northwest San Antonio. I do have a practice. It's Pinkston Medical and Wellness Clinic, and I'm on 10865 Shanefield Road. And our number is 210-698-7825. I have a different website for just the practice. It's PinkstonFamilyPracticeSA.com. And, of course, the drpbetterlife.com, where you can find, again, all the YouTube links, the radio links, the podcast links. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and all. And I'm growing. I'm heading the way PD Labs is. I'm going to try to get as big as they are out there and get a lot of great information out. And so... so on the turn of things, again, we just want to make sure that kids get the, important building blocks for their bodies so that they can get back to school. We have got to, as a society, get back and try to live a normal life. And the best way to do that is what we've addressed today, and that's building our bodies back up and our immune systems back up.
Good choices.
Absolutely. So, Ray, as always, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.